to launching the book in Pakistan and then being able to talk about it a few weeks later in Saudi Arabia, where we ended up meeting the CAIO of NASA and some other incredible folks at the LEAP conference, and being able to hand them the book, and some of them saying, this is the book that we need right now, was really validation in so many different ways, but more so when, some folks that I really trust read the entire book and told me this is reads really well. This is impactful. And I think because the message was really around humanity, right? It's a book about humanity more so than a book about AI, and the collective intelligence, the co-intelligence, the intelligences that arrive to a space that can be individualized. And to your point, Bob, that I was thinking about this is that the creative process in my mind is really individual, right? So it's going to vary from person to person to person, not necessarily even from discipline to discipline.
I think to Adnan's point, people are seeing that this is a problem. That AI is at a place where clearly it's changing everything, and it's changing industries, it's changing jobs, it's changing the way people think about themselves, and people are a little overwhelmed by it. Leadership, I think, doesn't always know in organizations and large companies what exactly to do with it. But there's the human side of it, which we're not hearing as much about. So I think that we had both come from this background where we'd spent a lot of time thinking about the socio-technical aspects of this. I've been leading innovation communities, first around digital health and all the ways wearables and other devices could be used around healthcare, around virtual reality and augmented reality and the whole spatial computing world. And so I did that within UNC Chapel Hill, great university, and then also outside of it in the area, in the Raleigh-Durham area where I live. And so thinking about that human side of things is something we both brought, and Adnan also has brought this from his whole life before as well. And so we were kind of in a good position to think about the solution to this problem. And I think that's what really hit it off for us and helped us move forward. And one more thing about the message is we're hearing, for instance, I've shared it with some people and they're like, this is a great book. But I could tell that they didn't get all the way through it because they're not a book reader. So one of the things we're thinking about is how we simplify some of this message, or how do we have it in an audio format?
Excellent. Yeah, I love the sort of forethought you're putting into that, because I think it ties into the human-centric sort of nature of the message itself, right? And
Right.
that literacy is a huge challenge, and I struggle sometimes with the literacy piece, because people think it means how can I learn to prompt better. Literacy and AI readiness for this sort of AI powered but hopefully human centric future is much more than just what I might type into a rich text box on my screen, or even using voice, which we know is going to be a pretty dominant way to sort of communicate with some of these AI tools. But I really like the approach, and I think just to get into some of the themes here, I was hoping you guys could unpack some of the intelligences that you were talking about, Adnan, in terms of obviously you've got IQ is a factor, but when we talk about what makes us human, it's not just our actual core intelligence, but it's emotional intelligence, our adaptability, and things that are going to really make us take a more holistic view of how is AI impacting not just me and my potential and my effectiveness and my productivity, but that of my team, that of my organization, or that of some other community that I might be a part of, because it is going to impact all of us. But we can't just focus on individual effectiveness and productivity, because even sort of independent folks like us do collaborate and work with others, right?
And I do have to say this too, yes, 100%. So this book would not have been possible without Brian. This book would not have been possible without me, without Cindy, without Kyle Shannon, without Mark Prensky, right? Like there's humans that are definitely involved in bringing Brian and I together, and then actually the actual fact of publishing the book, but also like it wouldn't have been possible without AI. So the human element, the AI element, the technological element as well, and the impetus of accountability, all of these things led to this happening.